How's it going, YouTube? In this match we have myself playing my MagnaGaruru deck against a very good player playing blue hybrid. So, after my success in Texas and other tournaments, a lot of people ask me like how the mirror match, if you will, goes. Although, as I've said multiple times, in my eyes, it's not a mirror match because although we are blue decks, they're very different. So what I will say is that this match is tough. I think it's pretty even. It could definitely go both ways. It is very winnable. If you've not tried the Magna build and you think that you get crushed by the standard blue hybrid, I would say that's just not true at all. We have some advantages, like we can be more aggressive, we have more firepower, ways to end the game out, and obviously they have a lot more control, right? Like I play all the Stravies to get all the searches, and they play the floodgates to slow us down, right? So it can go either way, so I figured I'd show a match here, showing myself playing the deck against a very good blue hybrid player, so you can see what it looks like. So off the bat, we're going very aggressive. So with the Kuma, I think the intention there was to proc the undeletion effect from the Stravi to play the Koji for free. You'll see that I often just swing with the rookies in these matchups because while something can freeze, it can't swing before it gets frozen. It should, since we have to play this very aggressive essentially. The Boko, not the greatest in this match, as he stands there and he is gonna just be frozen forever. We're able to go into a Beowulf for 3, which is, hey, sometimes still good enough. Swing, Beowulf's gonna survive at the 7k, and then here we set up the Koji. With the Boko setup, it's pretty good. I definitely wanted to get the Koji for free or for the Stravi, but unfortunately it did not happen. Opponent does have quite a bit of Tamer setup and Howling Memory, so he's still in a pretty good spot as well. But as you can see, we've gone on the aggressive. We've already checked to security. We have a rookie setup and, Koji with Boko on the field. So pretty scary stuff for my opponent, I would say. He's able to go into his own Beowulf, which is pretty good. Beowulf is just so strong. He's got Howling and Hammer Spark. Lets him go into an Asulong, which is honestly terrifying. I was scared that he might just swing Beowulf, crash, and then clear the board to sort of reset the situation. But the Asulong there is pretty scary, and he's still able to get the freeze anyway. Luckily, we do hit into a Davis, which is amazing for me. And then a Magna gets added to my hand. The Asulong was checking for 3. So now, funny enough, he can be the one to jump and be more aggressive. Usually the standard blue hybrid, they'll play like slow and freeze. But Asulong gives them such punching power. We do have 3 memory to work with. I still have the extra memory from the Boko available as well. We have Koji with a Magna in hand, as well as a Stravi to get Upa draw. So I've only done 2 damage this game, which is pretty early chip damage. And as you can see, we're already in a situation where I could potentially close the game out. And this is the power of the MagnaGaruru. So we're gonna swing, getting the draw for Upa, potentially finding the pieces that I might be missing. Now we can go into the Magna from the Koji effect. So for 5 hybrids, it costs 4, but we get memory from Boko. Then we have Koji inheritable to get another extra memory. And this is, why Magna's so good. And yeah, Tommy is insane. Don't get me wrong, Tommy's crazy good. But the Koji inheritable is nothing to laugh at. The extra memory there is just enough to give me enough to go into the hybrid, which we had gotten back from Magna, right? So yeah, Magna's a big commitment. You put a lot of cards on him, but you get those cards back, right? And you can see that very early we're able to go into the Magna and just swing for game. So you're asking me, how do I beat the blue hybrid matchup? That's how. We go on the aggressive, and we have more punching power with the Magna to close the game out. So game 1, pretty solid. That said, the Asulong was scary, and that was just a quick game in general. If we hadn't been able to, had the Magna and the Boko, we definitely would have been done there. My opponent noticed that one of my sleeves was messed up, so he called it out, as he should have. So what we did there was, to continue the game, we just swapped the card so we wouldn't know what was the the messed up sleeve. And then I felt bad anyway though, so as soon as the game ended, I'm like, I'm just gonna buy new sleeves. I don't want to walk around with a sleeve messed up. It's just not a good look for anybody, right? So I was like, let's just get new sleeves. But opponent was pretty cool about it. Stuff happens. And it really has no effect on the game, but just be careful with your stuff. You never know. One of your sleeves could get messed up and you don't notice it, and then your opponent could notice it, right? But shout out to this guy, he was very cool about it. And as a Magic pro of 20 years, he's got I guess he's on the lookout, right? Which I respect that. Because one of the things for me is like when I play, I'm not too concerned about any of that stuff, right? But it's good to be sometimes. Anyway, we're going into game 2 here. He's off to a pretty solid start with a rookie, Boko, and a Davis. And you're going to see me once again going to the aggressive stance. We had card draw from Upa, start getting the chip damage. Boko to get the searches. Like I said, Boko is kind of a liability in this matchup because, you know, Sora Joe and he just gets perma-stunned. But as you saw from last game, Boko could just sit there and then still provide the memory we need to work with. Obviously, things like Madoki Benomon are going to say no to that, right? So the floodgates definitely slow my deck down, but we also have ways to deal with them with, you know, Beowulf and Magna being able to bounce them and whatnot. Opponent's off to a good start though. He's got potentially 3 swings, but like I said, usually the blue hybrid, they'll play it a bit slow. Don't want to take unnecessary risk. Gonna just set up another Davis. He does give me 4 memory to work with though, which makes a bit of a difference. I don't have the Boko memory from the... I don't have the Boko memory because of the Betamon, but 4 is still a good number. We have Stravi in the back. Honestly, number 1 priority is, you know, push damage and then get that watermelon off the board, right? So a BT7 Beowulf would be pretty solid here. We go into the Kumamon. And do we have the Beowulf is the question. Koelamon in the back. Maybe we're fishing for the Beowulf because I might not have it. Looks like we don't have it, so we're just swinging. Kuma survives, which is, I guess, okay, right? Not the worst. But this is not the greatest spot to be at. Gonna just swing with the Boko while I can, figuring that he's not gonna get any more value, and go into a BT4 Beowulf in the back. So, you know, ideally there we would like maybe set up another Koji or something, but probably don't have that. Going into Beowulf in the back means that we could potentially just, you know, hit Digimon into Magna. Like, it's not ideal, but honestly, it's not the worst either. Plus the Beowulf is jamming, which is kind of nice. But now we're under quite a bit of pressure because he's got a bunch of tamers and he could be the one to go on the aggressive here. Kumamon's gonna strip the source. The Koji and Hair will actually do so much for me, so losing that definitely hurts. You know, it gets stopped by the watermelon anyway, but like I said, we have ways to potentially bounce that. Now he goes into a Beowulf, being able to clear my board and push damage. Koji hit is fantastic, of course. Now, you know, my blue deck is a bit different than the standard blue hybrid. Like, we don't have Sora Joe. I mean, I have one Sora Joe, but we don't have that, like, Tommy Sora Joe howling. But, like, I still have a bunch of tamers and security. We still have Hammer Sparks and Ice Wall. Like, my security is still really good as well. Now, he Ice Walls me, which is definitely going to slow me down and ensure that we can't close the game out next turn. Ice Wall, you know, so incredibly powerful, as always. Looks like he doesn't have a rookie, though, which might potentially save me. So he's gonna go into another Davis, pick up the rookie is missing. So it's a tough spot to be in because he still has, you know, 2 swings and hybrid for game, right? So I have to get something off the board. My Beowulf is 7k, which trades, so it's not ideal. But we can always, you know, swing at security and then go into Magna to bounce his Beowulf, which would be okay. In this case, if we had the BT4 Beowulf, it'd just be better, as we could also get the watermelon off of the board. But with this line play, we can only answer his Beowulf. So I put him at, you know, 3. We have Magna set up with 2 hybrids. I mean, 2 tamers in the back, which definitely sets me up for game next turn. And he's got a swing with Betamon, 1 hybrid, and then we should be good. With this line of play, I do lose 2 Hammer Spark and a 2nd hybrid, but I don't think there's anything I could really do about that. He goes into the Kumamon, not going to attack with the watermelon, which is definitely the correct play. Swing, and at this point there's nothing security that could save me because he does have no Hammer Spark and the Kuma for the game. So really close game. You know, the Ice Wall definitely doing some work there. If we had the BT4 Beo, I mean if we had the BT7 Beo instead of BT4, I would have been fine stopping extra attack, but I didn't. And then Ice was pretty good, and you know, the way he played that was good because, like I said, usually the blue hybrids, they just go like really slow, but you know, he definitely matched me on speed. And with the Asulong and stuff, like, he could also tread in lethal relatively quickly. So now we're going into game 3. I definitely like going second in the blue match, but I like going second in general. I'm a go second gamer. And, you know, the Magna deck is pretty fun. I know by now, you know, it's been a while since Texas happened, but I'm still really happy with the deck. I haven't really made any changes. I've tested it extensively and like I'm pretty set on it. The one thing that I might change is maybe put in a Supreme Cannon, because that card is kind of cool and it helps to deal with the floodgates. But honestly, it's fine, and I still say what I'll say before. If you guys have only tried the Tommy variant and you don't like Blue Hybrid, but you want to try something else, like try the Magna build. Magna is super sick, and he's pretty good. Magna's an amazing Digimon. One of the things about this matchup is that if you go into an early Magna, you could deal with a bunch of the board and, you know, push some damage. And then if they freeze it, like, yeah, it kind of sucks, but you can still use Magna's effect to restand your other Digimon, so you still get extra aggression. And they have no ways to like actually deal with the Magna, unless they're going to like a Sulong swing over, which is never going to happen. Okay, so he starts with Rookie and Davis, which is pretty strong. And yeah, look at that, we started with Rookie and Davis, which is also pretty strong. Davis is a good way to answer the Davis, right? That way we don't pass turn. We have the Boko, does not hit a Tamer, but we have hybrids to work with. Gonna take the Kendo. I do love that Kendo Garurumon. Given jamming to the BT7 Beowulf is super powerful to guarantee survival, so that we can go into the Magna potentially after. He has his own Boko, so in this game you can see we're kind of doing like mirror of each other so far. So, you know, definitely we play a lot of similar cards, and in a way we're both Blue Hybrids decks. But like I said, inherently, or at its core, we are different decks, I would say. The Strab is going to send an Ice Wall and a Hammer Spark to the bottom of the deck, which is insanely good news for me. I definitely feel super happy about that. As I've said, you know, our Stravi is just going to go on the aggressive, swing, push damage, and get the Upa draw. Hit into a Sora Joe is awful, absolutely terrible, but it's also the classic, and we could try and play around it. We play Blue Memory Boost to find the pieces that we need and have memory to work with, and then set up a Koji so that we're not giving over Sora Joe memory. So hitting Sora Joe was terrible, but at least my Pokemon died, meaning I wasn't able to get, you know, extra memory shenanigans. But like I said, being able to get chip damage from my rookies is crucial, because him being a 3 security means that, you know, we could tread in quite a bit of damage. He goes into the Kuma. Now, once again, he's got a ton of bodies and a Tamer to work with still. You know, you can see he chose to go over the Davis instead of Sorjo, showing, you know, how much people value Sorjo and how powerful that Tamer is. Gonna go into the Beowulf, lets him balance my Stravi, and again go a bit on the aggressive, hits into my Beowulf as well, which is kind of nice for me. It's still a bit rough. Luckily, he doesn't have a Madoka Betamon, because we have the blue memory to work with. Madoka Betamon would absolutely kind of wreck me right now. But it looks like he doesn't have one. But, you know, from his perspective, it's like, okay, he's a 3 security and I only have 2 Tamers. Sure, one of them is Koji, but probably still feels relatively safe, right? And you see how quickly these games are, but that's just because my deck is so aggressive and can end the game so quickly. And he's playing, you know, more aggressive to match my speed, which I think is correct as well. It's going to replace his Davis, which is probably why he digivolved over the Davis in the first place. He wasn't able to get a Madoka Betamon, which is really good for me. So we actually have 4 memory to work with, plus the 2 from the Howlin'. So I'm definitely going to have some sick plays this turn. So we have 3 of the BT6 Stravis to go into the Magna, which is insane because, as you're going to see, I go into Magna for 4. Then when I swing, we gain 3 memory and then 1 more from the Koji. Plus I take back my level 4 and we get the restand. So we get 2 swings. Even though we hit into a Hammer Spark, we have so much memory to work with. Kendo can swing, and then I play Blitz only because my deck is more aggressive. So that was a pretty solid game. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.